then company A becomes the parent of company B. Company A being the majority stockholder of company B. Yun yung sinasabi nating stock acquisition. Question, may namatay bang kumpanya? Wala. Because they continue to operate legally, no? And as a legal entity, no, they continue to exist independently. However, economically, they are one and the same company after the stock acquisition. So, ibig sabihin, kaya nga ibig sabihin natin, no, in a stock acquisition, there may be two sets of financial statements that a parent corporation or a parent company should prepare. Ano yon? Gagawa siya ng financial statements na unconsolidated financial statement. Ibig sabihin, no, being an independent company that legally exists, kailangan meron siyang sarili niyang FS. Ito yung sinasabi nating separate financial statement, which is in PAS number 27. It is governed by PAS number 27 on separate financial statements. Ang ibig sabihin nitong separate financial statements na to, unconsolidated FS. Okay. As an economic entity, the parent and all its subsidiaries are one and the same. Economically, they're one and the same. Therefore, as parent company, no, the parent prepares what? Prepares consolidated financial statements. Meaning to say, pag sinabi nating consolidated financial statements, then we refer to group financial statements. Group financial statements. Okay, let me show you an example. Diba? Ang alam lang natin minsan yung single na financial statement, yung unconsolidated FS. What about if it is an FS, a consolidated FS? Okay, so because this will be the product of this pronouncement, so the reason why I need to show you an example. Okay, so let's take Jollibee. Talagang paborito si Jollibee. Ayan, ganali Sorry, may ubo pa ako. Wala na tayong magagawa doon. Okay. Teka, wait na nga. So, let me change my screen. Change muna natin. Ayan. Okay. Tingnan lang natin. Familiarization. Kasi PFRS 10 yung pinag-uusapan natin, you know. Kaya ano ba ang itsura niya? Ayan. All right. So first, no? A consolidated statement of financial position. Oh, here it is. Ayan. Okay? So sabi mo, nothing special. Okay, so let's see. What makes it special? Okay. So, kasi tingnan mo yung shareholders equity niya. Ayan. Tingnan mo ha. So, for your shareholders equity, ayan ang nakalagay. No? Equity attributable to equity holders of the parent company. Ayan. Okay? And that there is a portion which is pertaining to non-controlling interest. Dati ang tawag natin dito minority interest. Kaya lang pag yung connotation ng minority parang ang liit-liit, no? Para bang napaka-degrading naman. Okay, kaya pinalitan yung term. From minority interest, we now use the term non-controlling interest. Kasi ito yung controlling. Ito si parent eh. This is the equity of the parent. But mind you, you also have to present the non-controlling interest. Unless the subsidiary is fully owned by the parent. Meaning to say 100% talaga ang ownership. But other than that, kunwari 80% ownership, natural, meron pang 20%. Na ano yung 20%? That is a non-controlling interest. Or sabihin natin 60-40, 40% is the ownership, 60% is the ownership. So may 40% na non-controlling interest. So you show separately the non-controlling interest. Di ba? Kaya the equity attributable to equity holders of the parent plus the non-controlling interest will give you the total consolidated equity. Ayan, no? Di ba? Okay. So, kaya itong mga yan, yung mga nakikita mo na yan, let's say capital stock, yung additional paid in capital, mga consolidated capital stock, o cumulative, these are consolidated items, no? Consolidated retained earnings, o yung mga ganun, no? Okay. Now, tingnan natin ang notes to financial, okay, so comprehensive income naman. Statement of comprehensive income. Meron din bang segregation? Ayan, no? Kita mo, oh. Oh. Even doon sa net income, no? So you have to separate the net income attributable to equity holders from that of the non-controlling interest. Okay? Now, tingnan mo rin to, ha? O, total comprehensive income attributable, hindi lang pala net income, ha? Pati total comprehensive income attributable to equity holders of the parent, and then you also show the non-controlling interest. Right? O, pati nga doon sa earnings per share. O, tingnan natin yung earnings per share. Yung earnings per share na pinakikita ay para lang doon sa equity holders of the parent company. Hindi na pinakita yung sa non-controlling interest. So sa makatwid, yung earnings per share computation, no, is only based on itong equity holders. Yung net income attributable to equity holders at saka yung total comprehensive income, no, attributable to equity holders. Okay? So, yan, ano? Net income lang pala, net income. Sorry, net income lang. Excuse me. Pasensya na kayo, ha. Talagang ako not feeling well pa. Okay. So, itong consolidated statement of changes in equity, ayan, no? One of the columns provided is for non-controlling interest. See? Laging kasali yung non-controlling interest. Okay. When it comes to notes to financial statement, so para lang ma-distinguish natin from an unconsolidated FS. Ayan. Doon pa lang sa note number 1 on corporate information, we say that no, the FS should introduce, no, the group, the parent, as well as its subsidiaries. Okay. So let us read. Jollibee Food Corporation, the parent company, was incorporated in the Philippines. The parent company and its subsidiaries, collectively referred to as Jollibee Group. O, kaya madidistinguish mo kagad kung consolidated FS siya kasi ang ire-refer ka doon sa it's called a group. So Jollibee Group involved primarily in the development, blah blah blah, operation and franchising, etc. So, who are involved? Ito na yung mga subsidiaries ni Jollibee. Ano-ano yung mga subsidiaries ni Jollibee? Greenwich, Chowking, Red Ribbon, Yonghe King, Hong Suang Yuan, okay, Mang Inasal, Burger King, San Pinwang, 12 Hot Pot, and other, etc. No? So, ibig sabihin, so these are the subsidiaries under Jollibee Corporation or Jollibee Foods Corporation. Okay? Ayan. Alright. So, ayan. Tingnan natin. Kasi normally, when you present significant accounting policies, no, may excerpt ka ng bawat pronouncements that you applied in preparing the consolidated FS. Okay? So among others, you have PFRS number 10, Consolidated Financial Statement. So this standard replaces the portion of PAS 27, Consolidated and Separate Financial Statement, that addresses the accounting for consolidated FS, etc. Okay, it establishes a single control model that applies to all entities, including special purpose entities. The changes introduced by PFRS 10 will require management to exercise significant judgment to determine whether entities are controlled and therefore are required to be consolidated by a parent compared with the requirements that were in PAS 27. Kasi yung PAS 27 is more on the separate or unconsolidated financial statement, while PFRS number 10 pertains to consolidated financial statement. Okay? So, yun, ano? All right. So, that is, a practical example, no, of a consolidated FS. Okay, let's go back uh, to the pronouncements. Balik tayo sa pronouncement. Yan. Okay, so what can you or what are the highlights of PFRS number 3? Doon muna tayo sa PFRS 3. Of course, PFRS 3 defines what a business is. Ano ibig sabihin ng business? Okay. Kasi baka mamaya niyan, for all you know, yung palang pinaka-basic ang na-miss nung accountant. Na hindi pala business yun. So it has to be applied only, PFRS number 3 only applies to business entities. Okay? Business entity. So a business is defined as being an integrated set of activities and assets that is capable of being conducted and managed for the purpose of providing a return. Kaya ka nag-i-engage sa business kasi for the purpose of providing a return in the form of dividends, lower cost, or other economic benefits directly to investors or other owner members of party or participants. So meaning to say, a business, no? Okay, so it refers to activities, no? And that assets are being utilized in order to conduct the business, no? Okay. And the purpose of that business is to provide a return that will enrich, no, the investors. Who are the investors? The owners, no? The members or participants. Ngayon, pag sinabi nating business, no, kaya nga yung mga PFRS nyo, applicable lang yan sa business. Paano yung mga NGOs? Ay, hindi applicable yan sa NGO. So what about sa government? Ay, hindi yan applicable. Meron silang sarili nila. Okay. So, ang gumagamit nga lang ng PFRS, no, or IFRS, mga business establishments, business entities. Okay. So, there are three characteristics that makes a business. Okay? Integrated set of activities and assets. Kaya pag sinabi mong integrated, ibig sabihin, connect sila. Incorporated sila. They do not independently exist. No? But they are parang you imagine parang something like it's a pool of assets, no, that are integrated, no, in order to undertake set of activities. Okay. Capable of being conducted and managed to provide returns. So a business, no, has one or two or more persons, capable of conducting and managing the business. Para na sa ganon, no, the business will provide a return. Okay? And that returns include dividends and cost savings. Okay? So, pwede pala ang cost savings. Benefit pala yun eh. May economic benefit ang cost savings. And so with dividends. Okay. Now, identifying a business combination. So, pag sinabi natin, I already discussed, no, examples of business combination. Okay, so one or more businesses become subsidiaries of an acquirer. Hindi lang naman tayo limitado sa isa o dalawa. Po pwedeng as many as many businesses as the acquirer can buy out. 'Di ba? Okay, depende sa acquirer. Kung ganun kayaman yung acquirer, hindi lang isang business ang pwede niyang i-buy out. Baka mamili siya ng maraming businesses. One entity transfers its net assets to another entity. Okay? And that all entities that are party to the business combination transfer their net assets to a newly formed entity or a group of former owners. Okay? So maraming ang tawag natin, maraming schema or something like maraming tipo, no? Ng business combination depending on the terms and conditions or the contract, no, executed by them. Di ba? Okay. Now, what we are most interested in is the method of accounting for business combination. Ano ba yung method of accounting? Tayo, isa lang naman ang method of accounting natin na sinusunod sa PFRS. And that is the acquisition method, or another term for acquisition method is purchase method. Purchase method. Bakit? Meron pa bang ibang klaseng method? Meron. Because if you are going to use GAAP or the US GAAP, US GAAP or the FASB, no, there are two methods of accounting for business combination. One is purchase method or acquisition method, and the other one is the pooling of interest. Hindi fooling, hindi POOL, pooling of interest method. So meron choice. You may account for it using the purchase method or the pooling of interest method. But for for PFRS or companies adopting PFRS, straightforward yan. No other choice but use acquisition method or purchase method. Okay. And how do you apply? the acquisition method. Okay? So first, you need to identify the acquirer. Who is the acquirer? Okay? So the combining entity that obtains control of the acquiree. Who is the acquirer in the transaction? Business combination transaction. Okay. Second, you need to determine the acquisition date. The date on which the acquirer obtains control of the acquiree. Third, you recognize and measure the identifiable assets acquired, the liabilities assumed, and any non-controlling interest, formerly called minority interest, in the acquiree. Okay? So ang ibig sabihin niyan, liabilities assumed, hindi yung non-controlling interest ang i-acquire mo, ha? Non-controlling interest nga eh. Separate 'yon. Kaya dapat i-identify mo pa rin yung acquirees non-controlling interest, or sometimes we use, alam mo naman tayo, mahilig tayong gumamit ng acronym, NCI, non-controlling interest. Okay? So, kailangan pala nating malaman yung identifiable assets acquired. Sabi mo, what about non-identifiable asset? Ano ba yung non-identifiable asset? Goodwill. O, di ba? Later on na, madidetermine mo yung goodwill. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, this is the best time for us to record or to recognize on the books of the acquirer goodwill. Okay? Dahil tayo nagre-record na lang natin na goodwill as a result of a business combination. Hindi nga tayo nagre-record ng goodwill outside of business combination eh. Bakit? Can you sell goodwill? No. You can only sell goodwill when you sell the entire company. That's the reason why in a business combination where the whole company is being bought, okay, then you may record goodwill. Okay, depende. Kung yung acquisition cost mo is greater or higher than the fair value of the net asset acquired. Ano ibig sabihin ng net assets nga? The assets of the acquiree minus the liabilities of the acquiree. Okay, fair value raw nun para malaman natin kung merong goodwill. Di ba? Yun yung sa number 4, recognize and measure goodwill, or it may be a gain from a bargain purchase. Kailan nagiging goodwill nga uli? If the acquisition cost of business combination is higher than the fair value of the net assets acquired. Okay? In that case, meron tayong goodwill. But if the acquisition cost is even lower than the fair value of the net asset acquired, then it will result to a gain from a bargain purchase. In that case, ano ba yung gain on bargain purchase? It is to be considered as what? It will be considered as gain nga eh. It is to be considered as a P&L item. Right? It's a profit item. Okay? So, siguro naman naaalala natin lahat yung mga yon, mini-mention ko lang, nire-refresh ko lang kayo. Okay. Ngayon, sabi natin, when you identify acquirer, syempre may kontrata ito. Hindi naman siguro it will only be written in the stars. It will not only be written in water or on the water. But there must really be a contract, or a written contract, so to support the business combination transaction. So, syempre sa kontrata, sino si acquirer? Naka-identify? Yes. At sino yung acquiree? Naka-identify din. Okay? So, a combining entity is assumed to have control of another when the parent owns more than half of the voting power of an entity. Now, sabi natin, pag sinabi natin business combination, it's either a merger, a statutory consolidation, or a stock acquisition. And if it is a stock acquisition, no, the parent may own more than half of the voting power of an entity. Kaya anong ibig sabihin? In quantitative threshold, kapag quantitative threshold ang pinagbasihan natin, no, there is control, no, by the parent if the parent owns 50 plus 1% of the outstanding stock of the subsidiary. Yan ang tinatawag nating quantitative threshold. Okay? The parent owns more than half the voting power. At ang ibig sabihin ng voting power, no? Ordinary share has a voting power or the common stock. Hindi natin sinasabi dito yung preferred stock kasi ang preferred stock naman is a non-voting stock. Alin ba ang voting stock? Yung common stock or ordinary share, di ba? Okay. So if the parent owns more than half of the ordinary share of an entity, the parent also has control even if it owns less than half. So yung quantitative threshold natin, no, it is not the only measure, no, of control or whether there is control or there is none, no, because even if it is less than, no, less than the voting power or less than, no, less than half of the voting right has been acquired by the parent, no, maaaring meron pa ring control. There is a presumption of control if one, no, if the following, no, are present, or if the following criteria or measures have been met. Okay. One is over more than half of the voting rights by virtue of an agreement with other investors. Isinuko ng other investors yung kanilang right to vote to the parent. Oh, is that ano? Well, that is an overwhelming evidence that the parent controls the subsidiary. Okay? Then, to govern the financial and operating policies of the entity under a statute or an agreement. May agreement eh. Sino magko-control? Okay, so kung si parent ang even the parent owns less than half of the voting right, may agreement, then there is control. Okay. To appoint or remove the majority of the board of directors. Nako, this is the right or the power that can be exercised, the power to hire and fire. Okay? The power to hire and the power to fire. Okay? So kung etong ating entity, no, has the power to fire or to hire and fire, no, majority of the board of directors, then the parent or that company is considered as a parent company. Okay? And then to cast the majority of votes at meeting of the board of directors. So, kontrolado niya yung membership sa board of directors. Okay, kaya laging sila ang mananalo whenever decisions are to be made. Magbotohan lang yan since majority of the members of the board belong to the parent group. Then, walang magagawa yung mga iba, kundi overwhelmed yung lagi yung kanilang decision or yung kanilang gustong mangyari. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, ito yung qualitative threshold. Hindi lang tayo, dati kasi noong unang panahon, prior to PFRS number 10, no, unconsolidated FS, no. Kasi sa PFRS number 10, i-define ano ba ibig sabihin ng control. Okay? So that means prior to PFRS number 10, ang basihan lang natin para malaman natin kung may control o wala ay yung quantitative threshold. If the company, no, which is considered as a parent, owns more than half of the voting rights of the investee. Eh ngayon hindi na, kahit less than half of the voting rights, kapag itong mga bullet number 1, 2, 3, and 4, no, they are met, then that means to say, no, regardless of the ownership of shares, no, the parent is considered to be controlling the subsidiary. Ayun. Okay? So, ganun yun. Ngayon, who will determine whether there is control or there is none? Who among? Who among? No, who among the parent company's organization will determine whether there is control or there is none? Control, there is control or there is none. Don't you know that it is the accountant? The accountant, no? Of course, the head of the accounting department, the controller who will determine, no, if there is control. Kasi bakit importante 'yon na significant na kailangan may control? Kasi it is only when there is control, no, that you can establish may parent subsidiary relationship. In that case, consolidation procedures are necessary. Kasi kung walang control, edi walang parent-subsidiary relationship. At kapag walang parent-subsidiary relationship, eh, walang consolidated FS. Nangyayari lang ang consolidated FS if you presume na may control. And in that case, mayroong consolidation. Right? Kaya sino? Who is the best person who will determine if there is control? The accountant. Oh. See? Naku, napaka-importanting tao pala kayo doon. Of course, head of the accounting department will tell us kung may consolidation o wala. Tama? Oh, ganun yun. No? Matindi, ano? Okay. So, matindi pala yung inyong mga, responsibilidad. Hindi lang kayo basta accountant. Kayo ang magsasabi, magbagawa pa tayo ng consolidated FS. Wala namang control eh. Kung walang control, walang consolidated FS. See? So that is how you apply these pronouncements. No? Kaya, you will be guided by PFRS number 10, no, whenever control is to be defined or to be identified. Diba? Okay. May mga indicators daw. So IFRS 3 sets out a number of indicators that may help with the identification of the acquirer. So these are the combining entity whose owners as a group receive the largest proportion of the voting right. Okay. So ito identification, no? Okay, of the acquirer. Step 2, determine the acquisition date. Bakit importante? Natural, sa acquisition date, mag-e-entrada kayo. Gagawa kayo ng journal entries. Di ba? Mamimili kayo ng kumpanya, kailan kayo magre-record sa acquisition date. Di ba? So ano ba yung acquisition date? The date which the acquirer obtains control of the acquiree. So it is the acquirer's responsibility to identify the acquisition date. The acquisition date is normally the date on which the acquirer legally transfers the consideration for the business. Di ba? Arm's length transaction. Sige, may control ka na sa akin, pero nasa ng bayad? Bayaran mo. Kailangan magbayad. Acquisition date. However, it is possible for control to pass to the acquirer before or after this date, where several dates are key to the business combination. It is the date on which control passes that determines the date on which the acquisition occurs. Okay? Kaya nga dapat importante may kontrata. When will control begin? Okay, when will it begin? Okay? Step 3. Recognize and measure assets, liabilities, and non-controlling interest. Yan. As of the acquisition date, the acquirer recognizes separately from goodwill the identifiable assets acquired, the liabilities assumed, any non-controlling interest in the acquiring. Eto na, gagawa ka na ng mga calculation. 'Di ba? Naaalala nyo yung pag-compute natin ng ng pang-compute ng ng tawag dito, whether there is goodwill or there is gain or gain on bargain purchase. 'Di ba gumagawa tayo ng table, no? Tapos inilalagay natin doon yung even we determine the value of the non-controlling interest. Kasali 'yun. So the acquired assets and liabilities are required to be measured and their acquisition date fair value. Non-controlling interest, no, that are present, no, that are present, no ownership interest, that are present ownership interest and entitle their holders to a proportionate share of the entity's net asset in the event of liquidation. All other components, no? There are certain exceptions to the recognition or principle which cover contingent liabilities, income taxes, etc. Okay? And then, of course, you should know, ano ba ang composition ng acquisition cost? Di ba? Meron ba mga acquisition cost? Syempre. Ano ba yung mga ibabayad natin kay doon sa mga shareholders ni acquirer? Ay ni acquiree ah. Sino magbabayad? Si acquirer. Sino babayaran? Di yung mga acquiree shareholders, the acquiree shareholders bibilin mo yung buong company. Okay. So pwedeng magbayad ng cash or other assets. Cash or non-cash assets. Okay? Pwede rin naman, i-assume mo muna yung liabilities such as taking on the liability for a bank loan. Kunwari, nakasanla sa bangko itong kumpanyang binibili mo. Babayaran mo ngayon sa bangko yung utang ni acquiree. Okay? Or it may be issuance of equity instruments, no, such as ordinary shares. Kaninong equity instrument ang i-issue? Di natural yung equity instrument or ordinary shares ni acquirer. Okay? Pwede rin naman preference shares. Pwede ring ordinary shares, no, or any equity instrument can be issued by the acquirer in favor of the acquiree's shareholders. Di ba? Ganun lang yun. Okay, so fair value. Lagi na naman, ayan na naman si fair value. 'Di ba? Okay, what about the cost of acquiring or the cost of acquisition? Okay. So sabi, i-charge daw natin sa business combination expense rather than capitalizing it. What about the cost of issuance of equity instrument? Saan mo i-charge? Sa share premium, di ba? Paano kung debt naman ang in-issue? Let's say bonds payable yung in-issue. Edi bond issue cost. Di ba? Ganun yun. Okay. Any cost incurred by the acquirer to achieve the business combination should not form part of the consideration transferred. Instead, such expenses, for example, legal and professional fees, should be recognized in P&L. Kaya nga ginagamit nating account title doon, business combination expense. 'Di ba? Okay. So, next, measurement of acquired asset and liabilities. Ayan. Cost of acquisition. May acquisition cost ba? O etong contingent consideration. Ano ba ito? Kasi po pwedeng meron ding contingent consideration. Ano ibig sabihin ng contingent consideration? Subject to certain conditions. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, aside from the acquisition cost, let's say it may be cash or other asset, it may be issuance of equity instrument, meron pang plus na contingent consideration. Ano ba itong contingent consideration na ito? This may be an additional payment to the acquirees, no? Acquirees shareholders if certain conditions are met. Okay? So contingent consideration must be measured at fair value at the time of the business combination. If the amount of contingent consideration changes as a result of a post-acquisition event, okay, such as meeting an earnings target, accounting for the change in consideration depends on whether the additional consideration is an equity instrument or a cash or other assets paid or owed. Okay? Ngayon, pwedeng i-remeasure. Kapag sinabi kasing contingent consideration, ito ibabayad ko sa iyo ngayon. But, madadagdagan pa yung payment na yan should you meet certain conditions. Ayun. Kagaya ng kunwari earnings target. Kapag, let's say, in 6 months time, tumubo ng malaki, let's say, ito, pwedeng maglagay na mag-propose ng ano yung ceiling or yung tawag dito, kunwari, tumaas ang sales or whatever consideration there may be, pwedeng magkaroon ng additional payment. Kaya nga sinabing contingent consideration subject to meeting, no, an earnings target. Kaya for the meantime, no, on the acquisition date, kailangan malaman mo magkano yung fair value ng contingent consideration. Kasi kasali yon doon sa magiging cost of acquiring, no, the asset, the cost of acquiring the business. Okay? So, yun ang ibig sabihin yan, no? So, more or less, yun ang mga kailangan nating malaman as far as these pronouncements are concerned. Okay. Now, contingent liabilities. Ano ba ibig sabihin yan? Meron bang income taxes? No, what about employee benefits, reacquired rights, share-based payment awards, no, etc. So ito yung mga terms and terms or terminologies that you may meet related to business combination. Okay. Recognition and measurement of goodwill or a bargain purchase. O, di ba? O, mine-measure natin yon, ano? So goodwill, I already told you about how to calculate goodwill using the indirect approach, the acquisition cost, when higher than the fair value of the net asset acquired, no, will give you goodwill, or else there will be a bargain or a gain on bargain purchase. Okay? Parehong i-recognize, yes. Goodwill can be grossed up to include the amounts attributable to NCI, no? Alam mo, yung may mga gross up calculation pa tayo. Di ba? Naalala niyo yan? No? And then, a gain or it may be a gain on bargain purchase which is to be considered as profit or loss item. Di ba? Okay. So, ganun lang yun. No? Meron ditong measurement of NCI kasi kasali yan. Ngayon, wala kang poproblemahin sa NCI kung fully owned or fully acquired, 100% acquired yung company. no? 100% acquired. Kunwari sabihin natin 100% ang binili mo, no? Okay. Eh kung less than 100%, natural merong value na i-attribute mo doon sa NCI. Okay, or non-controlling interest. Ganun lang naman. No complication. Ganun lang ang ating problema dyan. Okay? So, regarding PFRS number 10, pinagsama ko na, no? Sa PFRS 10, kasi itong PFRS number 10 is really more on the definition of control. How to identify if there is control. Because control means consolidation. Okay? So what is a consolidated FS? What do you mean by control of an investee? What is an investment entity? Who is a parent? What do you mean by power? Okay? As far as PFRS number 10 is concerned, protective rights. Meron ba mga protective rights ang mga shareholders? Okay, relevant activities. Ano nga ibig sabihin ng relevant activities? Okay, control. Sabi natin, an investor determines whether it is a parent, no, by assessing whether it controls one or more investees. An investee considers all relevant facts and circumstances when assessing whether it controls an investee. So an investor controls an investee when it is exposed or has the rights to variable return. Ano yung sabihin ng variable return? Paiba-iba, hindi fixed return. Now it's high, the following year it's low, kaya variable no? Kaya nga dapat magaling ang management para maglaging mataas ang returns, no? Because returns are variable, no, from its involvement with the investee and has the ability to affect those returns through its power over the investee. So an investor controls an investor controls an investee if and only if the investor has all of the following elements. Nako, masyadong tawag dito, all or nothing. Ayan. Power over the investee. The investee as investor has existing rights that give it ability to direct the relevant activities, nagmamando ng mga relevant activities, the activities that significantly affect the investee's returns. Okay. An investor controls an investee if and only if the investor is exposed, no, has an exposure or rights to variable returns from its involvement with the investee. So, ibig sabihin, pag kumbaga, smiley face sila kapag mataas ang return. Ngayon, sad face sila kapag low ang return. O sila yung tao or sila yung grupo na who are directly affected, no? Who are directly affected, okay, to variable returns. They may be exposed to losses. In that case, yung investor, no, yung investor na yon may control over the investee. The ability to use its power over the investee to affect the amount of the investor's returns. Okay? And that these rights, no, or rather, these elements, no, are further explained in PFRS number 10. So, when do you say that you have a power over the investee? When do you say that a company is exposed or have rights to variable return from its involvement with the investee? Okay? So, naka-elaborate yan sa PFRS number 10. Okay, so nakalagay ito. A parent must not only have power over an investee and exposure or rights to variable returns from its involvement with the investee, A parent must also have the ability to use its power over the investee to affect its returns from its involvement with the investee. Hindi lang significant influence eh. No, it can control, no? It can control the investee which will affect the returns of the investee, no? Okay, so yun ang ibig sabihin. Ibig sabihin, ikaw nasa iyo yung remote control, no? You may switch it on, you may switch it off. So, it means to say the investee will just follow kasi ikaw yung nagmamanage, no, of the affairs of the investee. Yan. Okay, meron kang control over the investee's decision. Right? Okay. So, doon tayo sa accounting requirements, no? Preparation. Eh di, pag na-establish mo na yung control, may control nga. Sabi mo, okay. So, eto na. Preparation na ng consolidated financial statements, no? Tingnan natin, no? A parent prepares consolidated financial statements using uniform accounting policies for like transactions and other events in similar circumstances. However, a parent need not present consolidated financial statements if it meets all of the following condition. Ang ibig sabihin, may exception to the rule din on consolidated or preparation of consolidated financial statements. And these are the conditions, kailangan daw all must be met para masabi mo na a parent did not present consolidated financial statements, because if only one of these conditions is not met, magpe-prepare ka ng consolidated FS. Kailangan kasi, in order to exempt yourself or the company from preparing or presenting consolidated FS, all of these conditions must be fully met. Right? Okay. Una, it is a wholly owned subsidiary or is a partially owned subsidiary of another entity and its other owners, including those not otherwise entitled to vote, have been informed about and do not object to the parent not presenting consolidated FS. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga owners nung mga ano yung owners, no, o sige pumayag na sila, o sige hindi na kayo mag-prepare, wag na kayo mag-prepare ng consolidated FS. Okay lang sa amin. Okay lang sa amin. Kaya kailangan may proof ito, may evidence ito. No, na that the owners, no, prefer or the owners approved, no, that the parent, no, will no longer present consolidated FS. May agreement. Now, its debt or equity instruments are not traded in a public market. So ibig sabihin, it is an unlisted corporation. Kasi if it is a listed corporation, walang magagawa, kailangan consolidated FS. Right? O eto, its debt or equity instrument are not traded, unlisted yung corporation. Ano yung pinagsasasabi kong unlisted yung corporation? Kapag hindi listed sa Philippine Stock Exchange. Okay? Walang option ang isang corporation, a parent at that, a parent company. No, walang lusot 'yon kung yung company, lusot 'yon, I mean sa pagpe-present ng financial ng consolidated FS kung ito ay isang listed company. So itong exemption from preparing consolidated FS, this is only applicable to unlisted corporation. Okay? Okay, next, it did not file nor is it in the process of filing its financial statements with the Securities Commission or other regulatory organization for the purpose of issuing any class of instrument in a public market. Hindi sila nag-a-apply, hindi sila nag-file for initial public offering. Kasi kapag nag-file na sila, na intention nila, no, to sell their instruments or to sell their stocks, no, in a public market, hindi na pwede. No, hindi sila exempted from preparing consolidated FS. Its ultimate or any intermediate parent of the intermediate parent of the parent, its ultimate or any intermediate parent of the parent produces consolidated FS available for public use that comply with IFRS. Ibig sabihin, the parent of the parent, no, meron ng consolidated FS. So there is really no need for the company to prepare another set of consolidated financial statements. So lahat ito dapat all-inclusive para ma-exempt from what? Exempt from preparing consolidated FS. Mahirap pala magpa-exempt, ano? Okay. Investment entities are prohibited from consolidating particular subsidiaries kapag investment entities. Okay? Consolidation procedures. Ayan. Combine like items of assets, liabilities, equity. Diba? Gumagawa tayo ng working paper for this. No? Consolidated FS. Tapos, meron tayong mga elimination entries for working paper purposes only. Hindi natin gino-journalize yun. Ha? Iba yung journal entry. Iba yung working paper entries. Yung mga elimination entries, ginagawa lang natin sa working paper for consolidation purposes. Kaya yung mga elimination entries na yan, hindi naman ine-enter talaga yan sa mga books of accounts. They are only good for what? They are only good for working paper, not to prepare consolidated FS. You should remember that. Okay, kasi minsan litong-lito. Hindi malaman ano bang kaibahan ng journal entries sa elimination entries. O, ang journal entries, ipapasok mo talaga sa books of accounts. Ang elimination entries sa working paper lang yun. Hindi mo pinapasok sa libro. Others, magkagulo-gulo yan libro mo. Kasi yung journal entries natin, yan ay para doon sa unconsolidated FS na pine-prepare natin. Ay, nako, ayan na naman. Excuse me. Okay. So, offset or eliminate the carrying amount of the parent's investment in its subsidiary and the parent's portion of equity. Okay. So, alam niyo, naalala niyo yung mga elimination entries natin. Kasali dun sa elimination entries natin yung advances to advances from affiliates. Kaya nga anong ginagawa natin? Make sure na yung advances to advances from affiliates natin. Kailangan nire-reconcile muna natin kaya para pare-pareho yung balanse. Otherwise, hindi mo i-eliminate yon kung yung advances to at saka yung advances from of the same nature, hindi tally. Kaya kailangan i-reconcile mo muna at yun ang hirap. No? Paano i-reconcile? Ayun, okay? Yung intercompany reconciliation, nako, yan ang iiyak ka doon, iiyak. Bakit? Kasi in actual practice, yan, nako, grabe, maiiyak ka talaga pag magre-reconcile. Kasi minsan, or rather most of the time, nagfa-fund transfer in, transfer out yan. Minsan, milyon-milyon pa halaga. No? Yung ipinasok dito sa bangko na ito o tinransfer, intercompany transfer, hindi mo makita kung saan yung kapartner. Kaya paano mo kaya kailangan i-reconcile mo before you can consolidate. Kasi i-eliminate mo yung mga yun Kasali yun sa mga intercompany intercompany transactions na i-eliminate mo. Paano kung hindi pantay-pantay ang mga balanse noon, hindi balanse, ay nako, hindi ka makakapag-eliminate. Okay. So, yun ang ibig sabihin, Kaya napakahirap din ng pag-prepare ng working paper to what? To consolidate, or to prepare consolidated financial statements. Tama? Uh, Happy kayo doon, di ba? Okay. And then of course, computation ng non-controlling interest. Ayan. So as you can see how important non-controlling interest in preparing, no, in presenting consolidated financial statements, di ba? Okay, and there are times nagkakaroon pa ng changes in ownership interest which you also need to account for. Okay, etc. And then ito na yung mga disclosure requirements. Okay? Sandali, 10-minute break muna tayo mga iha at ako'y iinom muna na sumasabog-sabog na yung aking cough. Okay? So 10 minutes muna tayo. So stop sharing muna before we answer multiple choice problems or theory. I'm gonna check the attendance later on. No? So 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I am going to check the attendance. Okay? Sige. Break time muna tayo. Okay, let me take a snapshot of our class today. Ay, wait. Ang gulo. Itong pusikat ko. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, for multiple choice theory, number one, answer natin, boy. So which of the following expenses related to the business acquisition should be included in total in the determination of net income of the combined corporation for the period in which the expenses are incurred? Okay, so ang answer natin is B, fees of finders and consultant, yes. Registration fee for equity is securities issued. Sandali medyo na may i-dispatch akong pet dito at ang gulo-gulo. Sandali lang. Yes. Yay! Halika dito. Halika dito. Nanggugulo, nanggugulo. Aray ko. Shh. Nanggugulo. Okay. So, eto, finder's fee and consultants. O syempre, kasali yan sa business combination expenses. Registration fee for equity securities issued. No. Bakit no? Kasi ito ay charge natin sa share premium. Di ba? Oh, kaya no ang answer dyan. Kasi di ba, yung kagaya ng mga registration fee for issuances of equity securities or yung mga shares of stock, no? Okay. Cha-charge mo yun sa share premium rather than business combination expenses. Okay, number two. Consolidated financial statements are typically prepared when one company has a controlling financial interest in another unless, letter C, the investee is in bankruptcy. Yun na exception. No? So, next, number three. On January 1st, 2011, Lake Corporation acquired 100% of the outstanding ordinary share of Shore Corporation for 800,000. On the date of acquisition, the fair value of Shore's net identifiable asset is 820. No, the book value of the Shore Corporation's net asset is 760,000. In Lake's 2011 financial statements, Lake should recognize a gain from bargain purchase. Mas mababa kasi yung acquisition cost compared with the value of the net identifiable assets acquired. Sorry. Okay, next. Number four. A business combination is accounted for appropriately as an acquisition. Which of the following should be deducted in determining the combined corporation's net income for the current period? Okay, so direct cost of acquisition, yes. General expenses related to acquisition, yes. Okay, number 5. Which of the following situations would require the use of the acquisition method in a business combination? Oh, so, eto medyo American ano to, American question ito. O the purchase of more than 50% of the business. No? Okay, so, um, wala ka naman choice dito pag ano wala ka namang choice sa atin sa PFRS no? So whatever it is, no? Whether you purchase more than 50% of a business or not, wala ka namang ibang gagamitin kundi yung purchase method or acquisition method. But of course, the official answer is letter C, no? The purchase of more than 50% of a business. Okay, stock acquisition wherein there is parent subsidiary relationship. Kennedy Company is acquiring Rose Company in an acquisition. What date should be used as the acquisition date for the transaction? Siyempre, letter B, the date Kennedy obtains control of Ross. Okay. Number 7, Lebo Corporation acquired control of Wilson Corporation by purchasing stock in steps. Which of the following regarding this type of acquisition is true? Pag sinabi natin step acquisition, unti-unti hanggang ma-reach niya yung sinasabi natin na majority. Okay? So, unti-unti, step acquisition. Okay? So, ang answer natin dyan, letter C, the previously held shares should be remeasured at fair value on the acquisition date and the gain recognized in earnings of the period. Okay? So, syempre, i-remeasure mo yung previously bought shares. Oh, dahil ngayon meron ng control, then that's the time na yung syempre kung bumili ka step ibig sabihin ng step acquisition as I said, no? Unti-unti until naging control na, controlling interest na. 'Di ba? Kaya anong gagawin mo dun sa previously prior to control yung previously held shares? O edi i-remeasure mo at fair value on the acquisition date. At yung acquisition date, at we all know, the acquisition date is the date when you when you obtain control, no? Okay. Number 8, in accounting for a business combination, which of the following intangibles should not be recognized an asset apart from goodwill? Ayan. So, employee quality. Ma-account mo ba yung employee quality? Of course, not. Ito yung trademark, identifiable, intangible, di ba? Lease agreement, identifiable, intangible. Patent, identifiable, intangible. Paano yung employee quality? O can you assign value to employee quality? O hindi, 'di ba? That's our answer. Number 9, a subsidiary acquired for cash in a business combination owned inventories with a with a market value greater than the book value as of the date of combination. A consolidated balance sheet prepared immediately after the acquisition would include the difference as part of inventories. Okay? Next. Number 10. Company J acquired all of the outstanding ordinary shares of Company K in exchange for cash. The acquisition price exceeds the fair value of the net assets acquired. Di dapat may goodwill, ano? So how should Company J determine the amounts to be reported for the plant and equipment and a long debt acquired from Company K? Di parehong fair value, syempre, fair value nga, letter D. Okay, 11. In a business combination accounted for as an acquisition, the appraised value of the identifiable assets acquired exceeded the acquisition price. No? How should the excess appraised value be reported? The gain on bargain purchase, which is letter D, and as a gain in net income for the period. Okay? You do not call it negative goodwill, no? So, dati-dati kasi pwedeng tawaging negative goodwill. Ngayon hindi na because of PFRS number 3, hindi mo na pwedeng tawaging negative goodwill but a gain on bargain purchase which is a P&L item for the period. Number 12, when a parent-subsidiary relationship exists, consolidated financial statements are prepared in recognition of the accounting concept of economic entity. Kasi the parents and subsidiaries and its subsidiaries are what? Are one and the same economically. But legally, they are independent entities. No? Okay, but economically, they are one and the same entity. Okay? Number 13. Okay, so a subsidiary was acquired for cash, no? A subsidiary was acquired for cash in a business combination on January 1st, 2021. The consideration given exceeded the fair value of identifiable net assets. So may goodwill, excuse me. The acquired company owned equipment with a market value. Siyempre, bago ka mag-booking last year, calculate mo na sa identifiable assets. The acquired company owned equipment with a market value in excess of carrying amount as of the date of combination. The consolidated balance sheet prepared on December 31, 2021 would report the unamortized portion of the excess of the market value over the carrying amount of the equipment as part of the plant and equipment. O yun, ang right accounting. No? Okay. Number 14. Pride Inc. owns 80% of Simba's outstanding common stock. Simba in turn owns 10% of Pride's outstanding. So Pride owns 80% of Simba. Okay? Simba naman in turn owns 10% of Pride's outstanding common stock. What percent of the common stock cash dividend declared by the individual company should be reported as dividend declared in the consolidated financial statement? So, ang answer natin, letter A, dividends declared by Pride, 90%. Diba? Dividends declared by Simba, 0%. Okay. 15. So, for number 15, answer natin letter B, the corporation that is the primary beneficiary. Kasi special purpose entity. Morton, Hillman, and Willis established a special purpose entity or SPE, variable interest entity, no, to perform leasing activities for three corporations. If at the time of formation the SPE is determined to be a variable interest entity subject to consolidation, which of the corporation should consolidate the SPE? Okay, the corporation that is the primary beneficiary. Whoever is the primary beneficiary will be the one to consolidate the SPEs. Okay, next, 16. Perez owns 80% of Senior. During 2021, Perez sold goods with a 40% gross profit to Senior. Ayan. Senior sold all of this at the intercompany, intercompany sales, purchases, no? Senior sold all of these goods in 2021. For 2021 consolidated FS, how should the summation of Perez and Senior income statement items be adjusted? The A, sales and cost of goods sold should be reduced by the intercompany sales. Di ba sa sales natin, meron tayo tinatawag na downstream and upstream. So whether downstream or upstream, basta yung intercompany portion kailangan, no? I tawag dito, i-eliminate. So 17. Okay, answer letter C. Number 18, boy. 19, dog. Okay, dog. Okay, 20, dog. Kunin nyo na yung answer. 21, boy. Okay. 22, letter C. 23, letter dog. Letter C. Ang 23. 24, letter A. 25C. 26C. 27A. 28, dog. 29, dog. 30, dog. 31, dog. 32A. 33 is A. 34A. 35A. Okay, so hanggang 35 tayo. Okay? Now, for the next meeting, okay? So we will discuss foreign currency, foreign currency transactions and translation, no, and other items, no, or other topics that we have not yet discussed, no. Halos patapos na tayo, no, for those items, no. Okay, so sa PFRS, tapos baka i-take up din natin yung PFRS for SMEs. Okay? So, I guess siguro it's all for now. Okay. All right, so we're done already with all the no the handouts, no, that all the lessons that I have uploaded, no. Okay, so next meeting you expect more handouts, no, that I'm gonna upload. Okay, so as I said, one of these, no, handouts, no, will be foreign currency transaction and translation. Okay. Sige, so let's call this night, no? And sorry for my ngayon, gumagaral-gal na boses. Okay? So I was sick last time, no? So ngayon lang tayo nagkita-kita. Okay, so since you still have quizzes pala scheduled for tomorrow, so I'll be dismissing you early. Okay? So I'll see you then on Monday next week. Bye-bye.